All right, what's up, everybody? Sam Callahan with the Callahan Training Group podcast. Back. I'm going to try to make a little short, sweet one. The season has started again. I am back to like insane busy on the range, like 5 to 7 days a week, all day. Which just means I can't put out digital content. I'd rather be out there. But I promised you guys I wouldn't totally stop if I could help it with the podcast and the information and stuff. So here we go. Kids are out at Target with the wife. I'm home today because for some reason it was 70 yesterday. I'm not kidding. It was like up to 76 2 days ago. It's 33 right now. So whatever. We got a fall spring for a week. We're into winter 2.0 and then or second winter if you're a hobbit. And now I'm hoping for spring to be here in the next couple of days. Maybe 6 more days. But that's kind of what the topic today was going to be about. I hate to do it, but titles are always clickbaity because I can get more clicks with clickbaity title, more engagement. If you don't give a shit, you'll click away anyway, so whatever. But we'll say the title, the topic of today is you're a loser if you stop training in the winter. And now I had this discussion with a couple people this week, and I'll be nicer about it. I do have some pointy things to say that might bother people that I even know. And it's not personal. I always say it all the time. I'm never being personal. I'm not attacking like who you are or anything like that. I take this shit really seriously. So I expect everyone else to. If you're gonna consider yourself like a peer of mine, or you're gonna consider yourself doing the same thing as me, I just want people to take it seriously. If you're gonna do basics and NRA training and just teaching people how to like handle a gun safely instead of going to a 2 day NRA class, that's totally fine. But if you're gonna do performance training and you're gonna do stuff like that, you're gonna consider yourself a peer of mine, I'm gonna hold you to some high standards. And that's all I'm saying. Hold you to high standards. I'm not trying to like kick anyone out or like gatekeep. I'm just gonna say standards are high, don't slack. Now that said, before I get spicy, it was nice to come out this week and kind of confirm some things, confirm a bunch of things really, but confirm a couple of things. When your hands are warm, it's really easy to draw and reload. I say that because we haven't stopped shooting this winter, and I'm saying shooting very specifically. I had a student of mine, George. He did a post, and I liked the way he worded something. He said, "First time back competing in a couple of months." But he worded it very specifically competing because we hadn't stopped shooting all winter long. That's a very rare one. Normally it gets so cold, it gets so miserable, we kind of cut it out for a little bit. At least not fully cut it out. I kind of shift into dry fire mode, but this year I kind of decided to fuck it. Let's just shoot all year round. The only time I couldn't get up to the range was about 2 weeks when we had 2.5 feet of snow on the range, and I like physically couldn't get up there to do anything. But once I can get in there, I snow blowed it out. I haven't stopped shooting this year. So the first kind of thing is, yeah, it's the winter time. You're not going to make any huge gains. It's too cold to really feel your hands and like do anything after like 20 minutes. So I'll have a heater up there sometimes. I'll crank a propane heater. I'll sit there and warm my hands in front of the heater. I'll get 15, 20 minutes of work in. I'll go load some mags in front of the heater, get to feeling my fingers again. It's inefficient, but it's a good way to get some rounds in all winter long. You guys with indoor ranges that allow you to do action shooting stuff, you're lucky, just business as usual inside. But I didn't want to just dry fire this season. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a detriment. There's guys out there like Jay Beal just did an interview about this, something similar. I know, what's his name? Joey Sauerland does 90% dry fire, and those guys are champion shooters. So it's not a bad thing to say I just did dry fire. But I was experimenting with instead of just doing a winter dry fire, can I keep shooting all year long and dry fire? And dry fire. It was awesome. It was cool. What I'll say is last week when I started shooting, it felt like I took ankle and wrist weights off. I had sneakers on instead of my knee-high winter muck boots. My hands were not just warm, like they weren't just not cold. They were warm. They didn't hurt. Like I could move them fully quickly. I had full dexterity. Everything worked. I wasn't cracking skin and breaking things by doing draws in the cold. I literally have cracks and breaks all over my fingers from doing that this year. But it was fun. It was like easy to shoot. I had a classifier set up. I believe it was 2508. I remember it's all part of the plan is the name of it. And I was just running it kind of casually. It's supposed to be with two little poppers, two big poppers. I had three little poppers, one big popper. So technically I made it harder, just doing some practice. And I was managing to get some 110s and 108% on that without warming up, like pretty much coming out cold. Let me just play my vision, see where it's at. And what's cool is the dry fire kept my draw spicy, kept my reload spicy. It kept all the manipulation there. All the dry fire and the ace stuff kept my vision cool. It was where it should be. The difference I felt was because I was shooting all year long, there wasn't that like acclimation period to like let me stand here and do a bunch of doubles, let me do a bunch of shots, let me like reacclimate to tracking like the recoil might like tracking might be the wrong word, but like let me see how my gun tracks back to zero again. I didn't have to add recoil again. We were shooting all winter long, and because it's really cold and really shitty in the winter, the recoil felt like I was shooting plus P, and then when I start shooting in warmth, when my palms don't hurt and everything's nice and warm, it just felt easy to be shooting normal 124 grain shots. So that's my first thing is yes, you could dry fire your way through the winter. If you can't shoot, like you don't have access to a range, you can't access whatever. I don't know. I'm not gonna say can't because I hate that word can't. Dry fire will get you through the winter, but you have to be dry firing very seriously. You have to be dry firing probably twice a day. You have to be dry firing every day. You have to be really like setting goals, pushing par times and like really doing it, not just 15 minutes of standard standing still, draw, reload. Like if you're just standing still and especially every day just doing draw, reload, draw, you're not dry firing seriously. You're not taking this seriously. You're not doing anything but making highlight reels for Instagram, which is great if that sells you classes. I'm not trying to take money out of your mouth. I am going to hold everybody to higher standards, as I said in the beginning of this video, is I'm going to call that bullshit out. And what I'm realizing is I was just in an online fight with like Travis. I don't want to say fight. It was a comment war, but like Travis Haley put some bullshit up and we all called it out. Like I'm not I take this seriously now. I don't care if you're Travis Haley. I don't care if you're a buddy of mine. You're gonna hear the nonsense called out now. So if you're just I call it performative dry firing. You're just dry firing stationary in front of your camera. Just draw, reload, draw, two, reload, two, all day, every day. You're missing out. You're not taking this seriously anymore. I think that's absolute nonsense. I will say that if you're going to be a coach, if you're going to be a serious instructor and doing all that, I think it's absolutely fucking nonsense that you take off during the winter. I don't know who you think you are that you can take off 2, 3, 4 months of the year and still consider yourself a peer of mine. Because that's not true. You can't take 4 months off of this stuff, not teach, not train, not compete, come back in 4 months and say, oh, it's warm again, let's start shooting again. Hey, my link's up, here's my classes and everything. If you have a part-time job or a full-time job and this is your part-time job and you're going to take time off of this part-time job and you're going to dip in and out of it, I don't take you seriously anymore. I'm sorry. And if you change that, I'll change my opinion. But that's fucking nonsense, man. Now, if you're an NRA instructor, you're doing basics, you're teaching people to just qual and just like stand on the line and do all that kind of stuff. That's not what we're talking. But if you're calling yourself like a performance trainer or a practical shooting coach, and you're trying to fill classes and you're doing hit factor this and you're teaching people how to compete or do all that kind of stuff, and you take months off at a time, look in a mirror, talk to yourself a little bit. That's nonsense. It's absolutely fucking nonsense. It's not holding yourself or your students or anybody to the standards that are out there. You're nerfing things just to ride right now what is a good wave. Like practical shooting is the wave right now. So you might know more than the next guy because they're new and you're not, but you taking 4 or 5 months off being performative and then like inundating Instagram with highlight reels of your dry fire and you not actually shooting is fucking nonsense. Now, these guys, if you're going to be a coach and you're going to be all these instructor or whatever the fancy word is this year, and you're not shooting majors, it's also nonsense. But that's a separate video. We're talking winter stuff right now. So if you're taking time off for the winter as a shooter, you're missing out. As long as you're dry firing, it's not bad. But if you're a coach and you're expecting to take money from other people and tell other people how to get better at this, and you're taking chunks of time off like that, nope, sorry, unexcusable. Absolutely unstrong. It's unacceptable. It's not going to be something I'm going to debate. It's ridiculous. I'll help you fix it if you got anything to say about that. But there's no other place, time, or industry that you can call yourself serious and act like that. And firearms are more serious, in my opinion, than most other things, being that they're firearms, so they're serious. And we're also now teaching a lot of police officers and people how to use these to maybe use it in the worst time of your life. So take it fucking seriously. Stop dipping in and out of this like some part-time instructor, especially using the winter and harsh weather as an excuse, because guess who I trained all through the winter? A lot of cops, a lot of PD, a lot of civilians, because while the competitors might go, oh, my hands hurt, blah, 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 people who need to not die, they keep shooting all year round because they need to not die. The guys who take it seriously, the SWAT guys, the guys who come out and train with me are serious. I was out in literally blizzard conditions sometimes because they had a qual coming up whether it was cold or not, and we had to train whether it was snowing or not. So don't do your student like don't hurt your students like that. Don't do them a disservice of dipping in and out of this and then calling yourself a pro or like a peer of mine. If you want to do something else, do something else. It's fine. If you don't take this seriously, don't take this seriously. Just come show up to the matches, have some fun, get your hit factors, go home. That's my little spicy take on it. But I'll dip out of the spicy take and I'll get back into like, yeah, the value in training thing. And it is you start to really paying attention to what happens when your hands get cold and things start to fail. You really get a value for like what I need to work on, what's not so subconscious. And then the other side becomes true. If you can't do draws and reloads because it's so cold and I'm going to focus on shooting, what ended up happening is I just had to work so hard to keep my grip and I had to work so hard to like battle the elements and stay focused and do these drills that it was difficult at first and then got easier and easier to just train the focus, train all this kind of stuff, train my trigger at speed, even though it's fucking freezing outside. And then when it's warm out, it felt so easy to do these things. And sometimes physically, sometimes it's easier to pull a trigger or hold a gun when it's not freezing cold. But what I found was when it was really nice outside and it's like sun shining on your face, a nice day, there's no mental pushback either. It was like, I'm really happy to be out here and it felt easier. So the same drill when it's cold and terrible and I have to focus on like, oh, my hands hurt, oh, this is all terrible. When I have to focus through that, it's hard. When it's warm out, feels easy. So I find the winter training is kind of like resistance training. If I can just call shots and do my job in the winter and just accept the little bit of loss because it's going to be cold and not worry about it and instead focus on the things I can control, focus on my shot calling, focus on my vision, focus on my grip. Man, when it got warm out, I felt like I had superpowers all of a sudden. So I find this winter training very helpful mentally as well. Physically, sure, you're going to get a little bit better. You'll learn some things, but mentally, you kind of you learn to you really mentally learn to ignore the things that don't matter when it's cold outside. And when all those things aren't in your way, my brain felt like it had 150% the power it needed when it was warm outside. So for guys who are going to be shooting against people, I think it's valuable training to train uncomfortably. But even the competitive people, one of the guys I talk about his videos sometimes with people is Jay Beal. I actually just mentioned him. But if you look him up, he shoots for Walther. He's a top 10 GM. He's shot all over the world. He shoots for us internationally. And even with that crazy resume, even with I think one of the best shooting resumes like that you could ask for, people don't know him by that. People know him by the Lego video. Everybody knows the Lego video, that guy who is dry firing walking on Legos. And it's funny because it's stepping on Legos hurts, everybody knows it, and he's just running through Legos barefoot smashing through. It's a viral video because it's funny and it's like haha, like it's cool and there's guns in it, but I think everybody missed the point of it. If you couldn't focus on calling shots and dry firing with a Lego digging 2 inches into the sole of your foot, and you could still get good shots and call all that kind of stuff, and you could do the mental work to remember your stage plan, call your shots, get a good grip, and not focus on that horrible feeling that's going on. When I have nice trail running shoes on and it's 74 degrees outside, it's going to feel easy to do those things. And feeling easy is what we're looking for in this. I don't want this to feel hard. I want it to feel as easy as possible. You ever watch the Olympics and go, man, they're making it look easy. That's because they're masters of it. The Olympians, the best of the world, make things look easy. I want it to feel easy. It feels easy for them to a degree. Obviously, there's work you put in, there's concentration. Nothing we're doing is easy, but you're trying to keep it simple and you're trying to make it feel like I'm not reaching my maximum ceiling of every single percentage of my skill set here. I have some gas left in the tank. I don't want you to be maxing out, right? If you're maxing out, that means if something goes wrong, you're going to crash and burn, or if you need that extra little 5, 6%, you can't access it, right? But if you could, while it's freezing cold or while you have Legos jamming in your feet, do 100% of your job, well, when you take away those resistance, it's going to feel really easy to do it at nationals. A little bit of stress, a little bit of pressure, sure, but it's not physical pain. It's not actually physically trying to stop and hurt you. It's just some mental block to get over. So it's funny, as much as I'm talking about this winter stuff, I see other guys out there very similar like style training. I even see guys like Jay go out barefoot runs in the snow because it's the same thing. Like if I could just focus on breathing and doing the right thing despite these external uncomfortable pressures, I'll be able to do my job very easily when there's no interference externally. So don't be a baby during the winters is basically the name of the game. Now, It's not exactly warm yet. So if you haven't shot all winter long and you're going, oh, next winter long I won't be a baby. No, no, no. Just go outside tomorrow. Go outside today. Screw that. If you're listening, listen. Go outside today. Go for a run. Go get used to some of this cold. Go dry fire outside. I don't care if it's 42 and raining and all that kind of stuff. I have a back deck that I like to dry fire on once there's not ice on it. For the same reason. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's gray. I don't care what it is. I'm going to dry fire in all these different conditions because then when it's nice and warm outside and we're shooting in the summer out in Ohio or out in Utah or whatever, it's going to feel much easier. So that's a little short, little bit spicy podcast for the day. Again, I'm not going to have these podcasts be stopping for the season, but I'm definitely not going to be hitting the week every week mark like I was there for the winter. I'm going to try to keep it at least a month, maybe twice a month. As I start traveling, I'll do them for my RV and things like that. But I always like to mention this at the end of the videos if you've gotten to this point. I love talking about this stuff. Sometimes I'm such a nerd that I'll concentrate and like dive down rabbit holes that other people don't give a shit about. So if there's anything on the internet or on the horizon right now that you guys want to hear me talk about, if you want to hear the subject bounced off, if you have like questions, let me know. The next podcast I have planned, full disclosure, is going to be all about this Nationals debacle going on. Now, if you've listened to me in the past and if you listen to this podcast, I have covered my disdain for how our organization runs Nationals multiple times. I've mentioned it, I've gone into it. I think right now it's worth diving back into, and I'll make another podcast about this, separate video, but it's worth diving back into because how much more popular sports have gotten, how much more demand, and how much more in front of everybody's face the problem of nationals has become. First of all, multiple nationals is an issue, and I'm not going to say good or bad. I'll say an issue we need to discuss. The shortage of available slots, and I don't to the public base, like the open enrollment. I think there's less than 70 open enrollment slots that are going to go up when it opens up. That means 400 almost something. It's like 380 slots were given out. I don't think 380 people who are signed up right now, um, if this is a real true meritocracy, I don't think that many people earned their slots to the nationals, right? And one of the other things I want to talk about is the current shift in a lot of us realizing, well, we don't need USPSA to guide us entirely. If we're going to make our own match, right now being talked about is there's going to be like a invitational match. I don't know, a master grandmaster match. It's being murmured that it's going to be out in Richmond, out in California around, if I'm not wrong, it's Halloween weekend. It's going to take the spot of the Glizzy Goblin Halloween match, whatever that was. But the fun thing about that is all the GMs and all of us competitors, some guys made it in, some didn't. But regardless, we'll say the top like 200 of us are basically saying, well, how are we even going to call it nationals? How are we going to call this serious if the best of the best can't be there? If I think it was the funny stat is last year's limited optics national champion was on the wait list for a period of time. Like that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. The guy who won was almost not at the match because he was on the wait list. So this whole master grandmaster invitational thing is an interesting way to do it. And I think what I'm going to do this whole podcast on is why I think that's a good idea to start to bridge the gap. But I really think a pro-am style nationals where the first wave is invitation only and the second wave is open invitation, I think that's going to be the way. And I'll leave it there. That'll be my little tease for that. But again, if you have any other topics you want me to discuss, if you have anything else you hate or love or you want to challenge me on, I'm this is open. This is just an open talk. I don't edit stuff if you watch this stuff. This is just free form. I'm gonna bullshit at the camera. If I don't like it, I'll delete it and do it again another day. Otherwise, I'm just gonna kind of say what I say, do what I do. You'll hear how I think, and we'll move on with our lives as it should be. I'm not a content creator. I'm not an influencer. I just do this for a living, and the unfortunate truth is that the internet is a giant poison dart in all of our necks that I need to continue to feed. So I'll keep doing the podcast. I'll keep doing all this stuff. But that said, this Sunday is my first big match of the year. I've never stopped the weekly matches. The weekly matches are continuously every Wednesday and Friday, 12 people-ish per slot every week. Yes, every single week. But this March 15th is the first monthly match. I have 65 people currently enrolled, signed up. I have six stages. It's going to be like 160 rounds, one classifier. It's going to be like a whole day big event, like you guys are used to USPSA matches. So this is going to kind of be the kickoff of the season this weekend. I'm pretty excited. And then going on from there, April, I have a two-gun match coming, and then May, USPSA, and I'll continue that cycle. It'll be USPSA two-gun, USPSA two-gun as the months go. But every single week, the USPSA matches at Double Eagle will be there. I have a Wednesday slot and a Friday slot, and now I have enough props and enough things to make this match, this club unreal. It's I have the best match set up right now. I'm so proud of it. I'm so excited. So come out and party. Thank you guys for sticking with me. As I always like to say at the end of all these videos, don't forget to dry fire. Have a good one, guys.